Y'all, I thought we had a break. They fooled me. Ready to Love is back. They call it season 5. I call it season 6. Y'all, let's get it. Hi there, Simply Stubbies, and welcome back to the Simply Stacy YouTube channel. It's your girl, Stacy. It is February the 2nd, 2022, and I am reviewing Ready to Love. I call it season 6. It is the Potomac, Maryland season, and I mean, it literally came on the week after the DC Part 2 reunion, and I'm like, Lord, I thought I had a break, but it looks like we do not. Real quick, it is Black History Month. I have on my Simply Black Girl Magic Top. Check it out, staceyhildeston.com/shop for all of your Black History, Valentine's, and just motivational things. Okay, let's get right to it. Okay, guys, so this year or this season, they are doing things so differently. They did not have a casting special. I don't even recall seeing very many clips about this prior to it actually coming on. It literally just like was there. And I was like, oh, okay, we already getting started. And you guys know I like to review the entire season. So looks like we're back at it. And I have something to post once a week again. Okay, so this came on last Friday. And season 6, like I said before, takes place in Potomac, Maryland. And this was episode number 1 called Quality Over Quantity. Okay, y'all. So I mean, I kept trying to figure out why OWN kept like calling their seasons like a season behind, and I couldn't figure it out. But then I was thinking about it, and I realized, so the very first season, if you guys remember, it happened in Atlanta. There were 20 contestants, 10 guys and 10 girls initially, and then like on day 1, they dwindled it down to only 3 men and then all the women, or something similar like that. And so these 3 men were dating all 10 women, and then at the end they had to choose. I don't think they got really good feedback from that. So a lot of people wrote in and was like, yeah, that's not how this needs to go. And so from that point on, they changed the format of the show. So I believe, even though they did not change the name, they started that second season in Atlanta, I guess. Was that in Atlanta too? I believe there were 2 actual full seasons in Atlanta. But I guess the second season of Atlanta, they decided to call season 1, I guess is how we're doing this. And then there were the 2 seasons that took place in Texas, Houston, and then there's the DC, and now we're in Potomac, Maryland. So they call it 5, but since I've been recording and recapping this show from at least season 3-ish, I'm going to just go ahead and call it season 6 because it would look crazy for me to call last season and this season 5. So from my perspective, it is season 6. From their perspective, it is season 5. It was a little bit harder for me to do this time because I don't know the cast. I didn't get a chance to see the casting special and make my snap judgments like we all know we can do. So I'm kind of meeting them as the show comes on, which I guess typically is the format of any dating show, except for Married at First Sight. They do a casting special as well, but I think that's more so for us to see why these couples will be compatible. But like on The Bachelor and other dating shows, we learn about the contestants as they're on the show. So I guess you can do it either way, and OWN has decided to try a different way this time. Okay. Tommy does say that this is a show and not all of the contestants will start their journeys at the exact same time. So I'm like, okay, so they're doing something else different. I can see this is just going to be a season of first. Y'all know how on The Bachelor, Chris Harrison used to always say, this has never been seen before in Bachelor history or whatever. So I guess OWN is on that same tip. Okay, so the first person we see that gets out the car is this guy named Paul, and he is 48 years old. I do not recall what they do. Normally, I get that during the casting special. They do put that on the screen, but guys, I wasn't paying attention that much. So, Paul is actually 48 years old. So, he is the oldest contestant by far. And He's basically looking for forever. There was a Ikea. I think it's Ikea. She was 38. She came in talking about how vexed and waxed she was. As I say their names, I'll be sure to put their pictures on the camera screen so you guys can see how or who these people are we're talking about, because we're going to get to know them. We're going to get to know more about their love life and they past love life and all that good stuff. So we got to figure out who these people are. At this moment, I don't know nothing about these people. I can't tell you how they were dressed. So Mr. Paul, who kept going by P.O., so I don't know if his last name is O, starts with the letter O or not, but they kept saying P.O. Why is it P.O.? And he's like, because I deliver, like post office. I'm like, sir, get on with your self, because that's not cute. But they was like, well, I mean, I think a parole officer, police officer. He was like, no, post office, because I deliver. I was like, where's the line? Absolutely worst line. But anyway, Mr. Paul. I won't say that he looked like he was 40. He had on a nice dark colored suit, maybe a burgundy maroon, but it didn't really look red, kind of more brownish. Yeah. Okay, so Ikea, sorry. I think her name is Ikea. Now, she had people that was really liking her. She's 39. She had on this nice yellow dress. I was like, okay, that's cute. I have heard from past cast members watching them on their stories or social media or lives that they have to get their outfits approved prior to, wearing them to the date. So they probably told them wear like bright colors or dresses or whatever if they had to get it approved. But I really liked her yellow dress. It was really, really flattering on her. Okay, there's Tiffany with an I. She is 37. And she said that she was a real Southern belle. She turns a house into a home. The man brings home the bacon and she will cook it. I said, okay, Tiffany girl. Next was Wiley. So Wiley is actually the youngest. He played college football, I believe. I don't know what he does now. Honestly, I'll have to tell you guys next week what these people do in their careers, because at this moment, I just honestly do not know. But yeah, he's a younger guy. He had on his brown suit with this burgundy shirt. He looked nice. I'll say that much. Next was Fernando. He was 34. And basically, he said his ex-girlfriend did not respect him. He was like, how can you go to a swingers resort and not bring your current boyfriend? You invite your ex? I was like, what kind of foolishness was you into? But that right there goes to show you something. And I hope you've changed since that last encounter. Because, sir, you can't even get your girlfriend to respect you. It's a mess. Next up was Kina. She's 39. There was the mansion mixer, right? So basically the mansion mixer comes and all these people are kind of coming in, and I'm seeing them as they're coming in. Like I said, it's kind of hard for me to just go ahead and tell y'all who is who and what is what. But the first people that kind of went away on their own was Demetrius. So Demetrius is 42. He's an ex-military veteran. Retired military. So he was in the service for at least 20 years. He retired recently. He said, he likes to dress but he could never express himself because he had been in the military all the time wearing uniforms. So I'm like, okay, I got it. Now I think he is a government contractor. Now I did recall seeing that. And he pulled, I said the lady with the red dress, but her name is Precious and she is 34. But I think it was more so she pulled him because she made a comment like, oh, I see this is how our relationship is going to go. You're going to be following me or something like that. So I don't know if she pulls him or he pulls her. But either way, he was trailing her to wherever they went off to talk to. Seems like they had a pretty decent conversation. And they kind of were vibing for a little bit. Then Tommy shows up and he says, you know what? We're going to be starting with 7 men and 7 women. He was like, no need for y'all to keep looking around because this is it. And I was like, Lord, now, what is y'all thinking? Because if y'all think about it, even when they be having 10 women and 10 men, it be times where don't nobody in the cast end up together. Simone and Rashid, the only couple that's still together from season 4, and they didn't even end up on the show together. Like, she got sent home. And then even from this, well, the season after that, season 5, was it? Jason and Liz left together as the only couple, and then they broke up. And now this past season that literally just ended the week before this aired, the couples that are together, except for Dante and Aisha, they actually made it through the process and together. But Camille and Cornelius and Zadia and Naeem, they all got kicked off the show and left or whatever. So I'm like, Lord, y'all think these 7 gonna make some matches? Because I don't know. The odds ain't looking good. The odds are not looking good. But I will say it's a nice, I guess, kind of attractive bunch. I'll say that. I would say, like, the DC, I feel like all the men look the same. They were bald and bearded. There are a couple bald and bearded guys on this season, but it doesn't seem like the majority of them are. So that was different. Sorry, guys. Okay. So, yeah. So they all looking crazy, too. Because then Tommy says, so keep mingling, but 2 people go home tonight. Everybody's on the chopping block. I'm like, dang, y'all started with 7 and y'all still gonna cut it again by 2? And I think that's one of the beefs people always have. It's like, why do we have to do eliminations on night 1? Like, it's definitely superficial or first impressions. It's not even based off of we've gotten to know these people. If I gotta just meet somebody and then send them home, I feel like they should give them a week of dates and then send their first person home. But that is not one of the things OWN decided to change. They are sending 2 people home today. So people are talking. So there's Fernando and Joy. And Fernando was just like question after question, basically like an interview. And Joy, that's what she said. She said she felt like this was an interview and not for him to get to know somebody. And she really wasn't feeling Fernando. He did tell somebody he was Panamanian. He's from Panama. So she was like, oh, I like a Caribbean guy. So somebody seemed to feel him, but Joy wasn't having it. Then Wiley, remember he's a 32-year-old. And then Keena, who is 39. They were talking. She didn't give him the time of day, basically. She found out how old he was. She asked him how old. He said 32. She basically was over there. She not trying to date no 32-year-old. She said he was too young. He said, he liked her, but he didn't really get good vibes for her. She wasn't giving off good energy. He was like, she was blunt, but she was still attractive. I'm like, Wiley, let it go. She not feeling you. You know it. That's that. Then Demetrius again. Demetrius, remember, is the 42-year-old Army vet. And he was talking to Sabrina. Now, while he did seem to have a good conversation with Precious, he also had a good conversation with Sabrina. Sabrina said he had caught her eye as soon as he walked in. And she asked him about, was he married before? He said yes, he was divorced. He wasn't married, but only 3 years. He was married for 3 years. And that it was his fault that they did not stay married. There was infidelity on his part, but he's learned a lot. He's grown. He has gone to counseling and all this. So Sabrina also had been married before. And she said she got married really young, and she also had to go through therapy. So it sounds like they have a lot in common. He likes it. He likes the vibe with her. So now I'm like, oh, he might like the vibe with her a little bit more than Precious. But him and Precious had some things in common as well. So we'll see how that goes. Then there is Paul, or P.O. He has started telling people his name is P.O. by this point. So I'm like, Lord, P.O. He delivered, y'all. He was talking to Ace, who is 37. She said she was married. And he said, what? Don't tell me you was married for a day. She was like, no, about a year and a half. And he says, oh, so you just didn't give it a chance. So I'm like, okay, so here you go, imparting your opinion on this woman. First of all, sir, you are 48 and never, you ain't said you was married. So have you been married? Because what is your issue, sir? Because you're single and you're 48 And have you been married before? Because who are you to tell her what she did or didn't do? I didn't like it, and neither did Ace. She was trying to get up to move or leave or something, and he just really wasn't letting her leave. He was so opinionated, too opinionated for my taste. And yeah, he asked her when she got up to leave, was she intimidated by him and his questions or something? I'm like, sorry, she wants to leave. She don't want to talk to you no more. Dang, you rubbing her the wrong way. So I am not liking Mr. Parole Officer. Next up was Precious and Troy. And Troy basically said that is his name Troy or Tori, guys? Give me a second, because y'all know I don't know these people. I wrote down Troy, but I do feel like I heard somebody say Tori later on. He has a dread. Tori is his name. It is not Troy. So she was talking to Tori. Tori is 39. Precious, I think, was 34. Can't remember. But anyway, he said that he was raised by his grandparents because his mom was in the military. She spent most of her time in Kuwait. And people sometimes that are overly emotional, it makes him to close up. And he just can't process that. And so she goes in to say that she's been estranged from her mom from the last 15 to 20 years. She was raised by her aunt. And so they also have something that is in common. She says that, she's sometimes on the fence about if she wants to have a kid and if she'll be able to give that child, what she did not get from her mother. And yeah, it seems like they were both vibing. They are both feeling the connection. And I'm like, okay, cool. We are seeing connections being made. People are getting deep on the very first meetup. So Tommy comes back up and he's like, let's talk to the ladies. And he talks to all the ladies like, who y'all feeling? So mostly everybody loves Demetrius now. He's bald, chocolate, bearded, and he was in the military, so now he be dressing. So he had on I think a maroon color suit or something. So people made note of that. They liked his look. And so he got a lot of, they feeling him. And Clifton, who is 44, he gave people the big teddy bear feel, 300 pounds maybe, 6, really tall, whatever. So they got really teddy bear vibes. And he seemed really funny and kind. And a lot of women were feeling him as well. Also, somebody liked Wiley, the young guy. And then, of course, Tori. People like Tori too. But the person they were not feeling, or the people, multiple people, or Fernando. Remember, he was the one who was giving the interview questions to the one lady. And then Paul P.O. I was like, by the way, his name is Paul, but he keeps telling us P.O. He just kept introducing himself as P.O. They're like, his name is Paul, by the way. Yeah, so those were the bottom two. And so Tommy talked to them, came back, and said, you know what, Fernando, you are the weakest link. Goodbye. You're not ready to love, sir. So say your goodbyes. He was like, y'all keep this thing going. They be there all night, honey. It was light when they came. It was dark when they left. Y'all keep talking because somebody else is going home tonight. Clifton and Joy actually meet up. They're having a conversation. They have really good chemistry. I kind of like their little connection. And they were discussing, where they going to go for their first date. And it just seemed really organic. And they just had a really cool initial connection. So I'm not sure who Tiffany was talking to. But whatever it is, when she talks to the confessional, she says she doesn't want to open up too quickly. And, Tori. Tori says that she's kind of guarded and he kind of gets friend vibes from her. Next up is Precious. She pulls Laverne. So Laverne is another guy. I'm trying to think. I think Laverne to me may be the most handsome on the show. Let me see how old Laverne is. I can't recall off the top of my head. Okay, so Laverne is 44. So he's 44. He's bald and bearded. He wears glasses though. And Precious pulls him to the side. He was talking to Sabrina and they were having a good little conversation. And she starts talking to him about him being, she was like, I remember you were a bodybuilder. He was like, oh, okay, of course you remember that. She was like, yeah, because I want to do bikini. I want you to help me do bikini or whatever. He like, okay, if I can help you, do I get to help you with everything? And I don't know if she said it or he said it, but either way, she finished it like, yeah, you could run the suntan oil all over me, or the suntan lotion or something. He must have said something about the tanning. Well, what about tanning? She was like, oh, you can run the suntan lotion all over me. I'm like, okay, that went from 0 to 50 real quick. But yeah, he was saying how he wants an alpha woman. He doesn't want a yes woman. And he was really feeling Precious's vibe, and that she, came guy from Sabrina. And he really liked her. He was like, okay, girl, you giving me the feels or something like that. Then there was Clifton and Ikea. So Clifton said he had seen Ikea when he first came in. He was like, oh, I want to go and chat with her for sure. So they finally had gotten their time. They was talking. They were discussing all kind of stuff that they liked and had in common. And like, what is your 5-year, 10-year plan? I think he asked her. And she was like, oh, I want a house on the water. Like, there has to be some water. He was like, yeah, like a beach where I could walk out the backyard and do all this stuff. So they had that in common. So then Keena walks up. Now, she said she tired. She got a headache. This is what she telling the confessional. Tyra got a headache. She just wants to know where she can find her some Advil or something for her headache. But she sits down beside them, kind of tries to engage in the conversation, which one she interrupts them. But they're nice, and so Clifton kind of turns so that she could be included in the conversation and say, hey, well, we were just kind of talking about this. Where do you see yourself in 5 years? Or do you got to live in the United States? How do you... I don't think he said that. He said, like, where do you, see yourself living? Do you think you'll be in Maryland forever? And she's like, no, maybe Atlanta, maybe, was it Florida? I don't know. It was some warm states or whatever. And they was like, oh, okay, because we both, were thinking like on the water. He was like, so you want to stay in the United States? And he's like, no overseas or anything. And she was like, oh, well, I don't know. But he could tell too that she was like checked out. He was like, I really think Kingdom was tired. She just was looking for some place to sit down. But that was included in the conversation, which was funny. But they were talking about like they wanted to live, hop. That's what he said, island hop or something. Him and Ikea. So it seems like they have a lot in common as well. And then Tommy comes and he's talking to the fellas and he's like, okay, who y'all feeling? So they were feeling Sabrina. A lot of people, they was like, I think the parole officer, post office guy, Paul, he was saying he really likes Sabrina. He likes what he see on paper and the physical, that's his girl for right now. That's who he going for. Precious, a lot of people likes her. I saw her connecting with a lot of people. Ikea, of course, Joy. And then the bottom was Keena and Ace, Tiffany. So there were 3 people that the guys kind of weren't feeling. Tiffany, Ace, and Keena. Keena, a lot of people said they got homegirl vibes. Ace, they said that she had low energy and they couldn't get off the topic of yoga. I think Tori might have said that. And then Tiffany, they said it just seemed like she couldn't get deeper. Remember, Tori said she seemed guarded. So basically, Keena goes home. I know y'all don't know Keena. We don't know Keena. We just met Keena. She gone. And so I think this may be the first season that a man and a woman went home. I can't recall, but sometimes it'd be like 2 men or just a man or it just be women or men. They send one each home. So then they do show the upcoming season, recap so we can see what's going to happen. So there are new people that are going to come in. And so I was like, okay, well, tell me something because you're just going to leave it down to these 6 people. I don't think we're going to be having no couples. So I am curious to see how this goes. And he says, I think Tommy says he's going to do it sooner than later. Y'all let me know. First of all, did y'all know that this was already back on? Put that in the comments. Let me know what y'all think of this new cast. Do y'all see any love connections forming? I kind of see some, but I don't even know these people's names. So I'm not even going to put it out there. We'll see next week. Do not forget to like, comment, and subscribe. And most importantly, share my videos, guys. Anybody else that loves, dating shows, reality shows, want a little recap, want a little black love in their lives. Any hopeless romantics, shoot them this video. And hit the notification bell so you can always be notified each and every time I post. And so that you don't miss out. Okay, guys. Until next time. See ya.